Welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. We are about to do round 17. It's going to be a pretty exciting, pretty new to the stream matchup. We are going to have Sam Rosin's first game on stream, Jason Keller's second game on stream. I think we had him once on day one with that exciting game against Ben, where Ben bingoed near the end and it wasn't quite enough. Elise, what do you know about these two?
Yeah, well, I think these two players have a bit of a history. Apparently, they're longtime friends. They both lived in New Jersey and played together at club there. So we love to see that. I think this will be a really cordial and fun matchup. Yeah, what else do you know about these players? Have you played either of them before, Matt?
I have, yeah. I don't have the greatest record against Jason. I am on a pretty good run recently, although I did lose in Albany a couple of weeks ago. I think 20 years ago, it was a common sight to see Jason Keller driving a very young child version of Sam Rosin around to Scrabble tournaments. I think they also had Rob Robinski in the car sometimes. Three people still in it, much closer to the top now with age and experience. I think we're gonna do a brief look at the standing spread. I think he is still in 7th place. Jason Keller is in 9th place. Both very much in the tournament, although they are gonna have to make something happen to make the final. I think we're gonna see 19 and 9 maybe is the minimum record to make the finals, maybe 18 and 10 with how small this division is, but that would require a lot of spread and the right people to lose. For instance, maybe 18 and 10 is enough, but only if Alec runs away with it and beats all the people beneath him.
Yeah, in this case, yeah, this could be a pretty important match. We see the same record here, and which one of them takes this, that might determine who makes a run to the top.
Yeah, for sure. Both of these people still very much in it, but kind of on the fringes of being in contention. They're both really going to want to win here to kind of keep their shot at the dream of winning this tournament alive. This tournament being the Scrabble Players Championship, an event with quite a bit of history. The first event with sort of part of the recognized history being the 1978 National Scrabble Championship. And then throughout the years, we've been known as a couple of different names. There was National Scrabble Championship, US Open Players Championship, not to be confused with the Scrabble Players Championship. And then for a few years, North American Scrabble Championship. But since 2022, we have called this event the Scrabble Players Championship, but an event with some sort of lineal history and an event with a lot of it.
And yeah, the Collins version of this tournament is maybe a little bit newer in North America, but also has an equally interesting history. So it's great to see that continuing here.
Yeah, the Collins tournament having a little bit less of a history. It started with 2012. I think Brian Bowman pulling that one out. I don't remember, but we've also had a lot of events. We've had lots of big names winning the event, such as John O'Loughlin, Adam Logan, who I believe is the only person to win the TWL or NWL and Collins events at this tournament. Peter Armstrong, David Eldar, lots of great players. I think we're going to switch to the players now. We're about to get ready.
Yeah, wow. Looks like Jason had a 500-point game, a 498, some really high-scoring ones up here. And Sam is no slouch himself. Yeah, he's on a streak of 3 wins. So this should be great. And I think we're ready to start.
Yeah, I believe Jason Keller is just mixing it up. We've been putting the second player on the right side of the stream, probably because we read left to right or something. Sam with the first move. He's pulling his tiles. We're getting ready for a Round 17 here in Hanover, Maryland, just outside of Baltimore near the BWI airport. Very convenient venue. Near a Southwest hub. Everybody loves Southwest, even though the bag checking is no longer free. Sam with a blank on his first rack, probably a very welcome sight.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like he has any bingos, but I think he's going to be able to score pretty decently and hold on to that blank for a later turn.
Yeah, this is one of those tricky, I don't know if this is a word or not. I see dowing immediately, Dhowing, and a dow is a type of boat with those public transportation things. I never know if it means to take that mode of transportation. If you watched me on stream in Albany, I played tramming, and that is a word which means to take the tram.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I would definitely be tempted to try it. But he could just play Dow without the ing, and that looks like a pretty solid option here. He also has in Dow, extending the W to that double letter. That looks like another good choice. Or he could play something shorter.
This is one of those interesting spots where maybe the blank is going to bail out any possible leave Sam keeps. So don't hate the idea of playing something like in Dow and saying, hey, I'll figure something out with H blank.
It looks like he might have downish lined up, or just down maybe. Hopefully he doesn't try that.
Yeah, downish is not a word. And unfortunately, with Jason's rack, Jason would open with a bingo redrive. And although it looks nice, it will not give Sam any eights. Sam would need one of the following letters to make an eight. GKLNOSTUY. So lots of options for eights, but none of them would actually work with redrive as Sam puts down Dow. I like this choice. I might have liked in Dow a little bit better because of my aforementioned rant about the blank bailing you out.
Yeah, I think this is a nice choice. Unfortunately, Jason's going to be able to hit back pretty hard with this nice bingo of override.
Yeah, Sam with one playable 7 of Whitney's. A very nice word. I think it's probably high enough props. Sam will be able to come up with it. If he doesn't, there's one option for an 8. Well, there's 2, but it's one word in 2 different spots. Maybe a little bit weird spot where you think there has to be more than that, but there's actually only 2 bingo choices here.
Yeah, I would be hoping that there's maybe something through this R in override that gets you a double-double, but it's hard with so many consonants on your rack to be playing something through a consonant.
Michael Baker in the chat pointing out rivered. He is pointing out the definition I think about the most. That is actually not the definition we use in Scrabble. Rivered is an adjective meaning containing a river. Does not form rivering, which you would think would be the present participle of river, but it is not because river is not a verb. That said, rivered, a valid word, did not play this time as Sam puts down Whitney's his best option.
Yeah, this is excellent. And he didn't waste too much time on this either. He was able to find it quickly and slap it down, getting 82 points.
Jason with not the greatest post bingo draw, not fun to draw 6 vowels. I don't think it is desperate enough to exchange something like emu to the left of Whitney's is going to score pretty well. Maybe a little bit too volatile to justify doing in game, although it does set up his own A. Elise, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I think I would play through this. Emu looks like a great option. He also has something like Meave underneath Dow's through that V, scoring a little bit more, keeping the U, but getting rid of 2 of those E's. So I would be looking for kind of higher scoring vowel dump here.
Meave maybe being a little bit safer. We see Sam drawing a 7-letter word. Cubital, don't think that goes anywhere. He's instead going to have to find the 8-letter word baculite in order to bingo here. Jason looking like he wants to play emu. I don't know if Meave is maybe a little bit safer here, but emu keeps a much better leave. Very good choice as well.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
yeah, you can't fault him for this.
here's a spot where we're going to see maybe Sam bingo, but Jason keeping his A, which ends up being a boon for him on the triple. The E fitting in front of EW quite nicely as well. So Jason setting himself up really nicely despite the 6 vowels.
Absolutely. And yeah, we'll see if Sam finds baculite here. It is a fossil.
Jason with a blank. He will get down some form of bingo. I know if I were Jason, I would be looking for a double-double. I only see Arrieros and Arroweir. I don't think either of those quite work as a double-double, unfortunately, but we know he will be able to come up with something as he is a strong player.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's going to have a lot of options, at least maybe through one of the Ds on the board. Yeah, this is a great rack with a lot of flexibility.
Shout out to Alexi in the comments. If you don't know Alexi, he is one of the strongest Carcassonne players on Earth. Carcassonne being arguably the most similar game to Scrabble. Despite not being a word game, Carcassonne is about pulling tiles out of the bag and placing them on the board, which means it has a lot of similarities to Scrabble. Alexi decided to use that as a reason to get into Scrabble. Welcome. Thank you for watching.
That's great. Yeah, Scrabble brings together a lot of people from a lot of different gaming communities. We have chess players, backgammon players, bridge players.
Yes.
It's really fun to hear from people about all of the nuances of their different games that they play.
And I believe Alexi is about 1,700 skilled, despite the fact that he has never met a tournament Scrabble player. He is from Latvia, a place with not a lot of Scrabble players or English speakers. So very impressive to do that despite not having a club to go to.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Sam didn't find baculite, but that's understandable. It's a pretty tough one to spot. And Blatt looks like a great alternative if you're not going to spot the bingo, scoring 36 points.
Yeah, Jason with not the greatest bingo options here, Elise. Do you think there's any argument in favor of waiting a turn to bingo? Something like or to the left of Blatt doesn't look terrible.
Yeah, I don't know. It's always hard on these turns to know whether you should wait. He does have one option that scores around 70 points, which I think is maybe a little bit too much to pass up. He can play a droider from the D.
Yeah, for sure. A droider not take. Although it opens up the triple on the bottom right, I don't think that is the worst way of doing it. I don't think I would be too worried. Of course, there is a chance for a disaster, but it does look somewhat safe, and it does interfere with 3 floaters contained within override. So I think I like that choice the best.
Yeah, he also has Arroweir, as you mentioned. Would you be in favor of playing a bingo like Arroweir instead of maybe just playing OR? Or yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think ultimately the options that are not bingos are not quite good enough to justify, but I think you always have to be thinking about things like that. They absolutely can be correct. There are often ways to score 30 plus while leaving something like IER blank. Often that is better than a sad 60 some point bingo. Although with 70 here, it's going to be hard to say no as Jason puts a droider on the board, Elise. Sam, with not the greatest rack, 5 vowels, what are you thinking about here?
Yeah, well, there's still that double-double lane open, and I think Sam does have something through there, so that by far would be the best option if he can utilize that spot. Otherwise, I'd maybe be thinking about fishing, but you want to make sure that you're still scoring enough if you're doing that. So playing off your Q, C, U, and E somewhere where you can score at least somewhat decently might be a good option too.
For sure, you always have to look through the R for double doubles, even if they're not bingos. This one's scoring 36 and kind of bailing Sam out of trouble with vowels. So I really like this choice of Ukrate.
Yeah, that's a great find.
This might be bailing out Jason a little bit. Actually, I think QAT was already there, so the U doesn't help Jason.
Yeah, he has that nice hot spot for the Q.
Do you think there is any argument in favor of playing something like Quap? I think he might be a little bit likelier to bingo immediately if he does something like that. I think it's at least justifiable. We know that Quap would stop Sam from playing the X, which is another advantage of it. Jason does not know that. I think Quap is a solid choice.
Yeah, it's hard. You just see that juicy spot and you want to put your Q there, but I think maybe taking a little bit more time and considering Quap would have been a good idea.
Yeah, Sam with maybe an interesting choice. Ox is kind of my gut, but the leave is actually not that great. It almost makes me want to put my S down as well. If you look, there's not really any good word with IJSSY. It's highly dependent on drawing an A for J's or an O for Joys. Elise, would you slap the S on in order to score 1 extra point and get another shot at an A or an O?
I think I would here. Yeah, those two S's, it's hard because an S is such a good tile and you want to hold on to as many as you can, but they really work against each other sometimes, especially with that J. So I think
Yeah,
I would be willing to part with the S here.
Yeah, I think this is one of those spots where, we tell people the S is great. Every tile you have to be careful with. It is possible to be too willing to keep any tile, including the blank. I think this is a spot where you could absolutely argue in favor of socks. Another option we didn't consider was 60 with Ukrites, a very defensive option and one that wins the sim, even though it scores a little bit less. So that would have been another great choice. That said, don't think you can quibble too much with Ox for 52 whenever it is available.
Mm-hmm. And he's hesitating here, so maybe he's considering slapping that S on.
I think that would be a great choice. I hope Sam can find 60 because I think that might be what I would do, but blindness is tough, definitely possible. He had trouble seeing it through the blank, and we see Sam confirming, probably trying to set up his X himself.
True, yeah. Holding it back and making a spot for socks next turn could work out well.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it is next turn or several plays into the future, but maybe a few
True.
turns later, Sam is more bingo-y and still has one of his S's, and that would be a great time to have that spot open, especially as Sam is not on turn and down 1 point. He is still quite an underdog. Jason with a couple of options. I see Opine on top of a Droider. That might be fun.
Ooh. Yeah, that could be fun. He also has some nice overlaps next to Whitney's. He can play knife with Amin, going vertically.
I
And
don't
that
think
scores
Jason has
surprising
a.
number of points.
Oh, that's an F. I am so sorry. It is being cut
Yeah,
off. I saw it as a third E. That is a much better choice. Dan Blake in the chat saying keeping FP is rough. Yeah, not possible
yeah.
to keep FP and draw into EEE. INOP. I got the rack wrong. Yeah, Opine, one of the better choices. NE IF, another excellent option. I like the idea of getting rid of the F here. Also, might be a little bit reckless opening up a triple like that with Opine when you're ahead and you don't have a hook.
Mm-hmm. It looks like he has Fen off to the side. Do you think he's considering playing that somewhere, Matt?
Well, he might be. I'm not sure exactly where that would go for a good score. It does go underneath. I don't think that is worth sacrificing much for. Not the easiest triple to use with the letters that would play there.
Yeah, and maybe he's gonna play Fee.
Fee, another version of that. Don't love this choice. I think this triple isn't quite volatile enough to be worth dealing with. I would have liked to see NEIF or maybe Opine.
Yeah, I agree. This feels maybe a little bit overly defensive at a
I think
point when you want to be scoring a bit more.
I think there were a lot of I think there's a lot of argument in favor of the idea of ignoring that spot. Not quite the most volatile triple, not like there is, say, an E1 tile to the right of a droider, which would take a lot more things in a higher scoring way. I do think that triple relatively inert as much as a triple can be. Elise, Sam with an interesting rack. One play that's hard to justify in game because it uses both S's is hissy. That said, Sam doesn't have a ton of great choices. I actually kind of like it. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it too. I mean, you're putting that H sort of near a triple word, but I don't think there are that many ways that Jason could hit back too hard. And yeah, I just don't see many other options. I mean, another option is to play jigs and Ukrites, but yeah, you hate to put the J near that triple. You're just guaranteeing that your opponent's going to get like 30 or 40 points.
Yeah, one thing I might do is jig and Gox. It does not feel great to block the area, but as Sam is a bit imbalanced, he might actually be the underdog to hit that area. Ox also taking a D and an L, both letters that like to end words. So I like this choice. I don't mind being defensive here, even with the deficit.
Yeah, and this choice crushes the sim too, so the engine agrees.
Sam was in good position to redraw Hissy or something like Hussy. Both of those were still going to be there for 39. Unfortunately, he drew some more consonants.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jason with Cape and Eyes, if an E was out in space, unfortunately, it is not. He's going to have to decide, do I want to use the Z now? Do I want to wait one turn, Elise? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not seeing many great plays that use the Z here. I think he has a Zoic or Epizoan, which is kind of a hard extension to find. So Epizoan goes from the E and override. And I think Azoic goes, I guess, underneath Ukrite, extending that C into the triple lane. But
Yeah,
I'd consider something like Panic too in that same
yeah,
spot, kind of saving the Z.
Panic might be a little bit tricky to spot, playing with the blank, needing some overlaps. I think Epizoan is a little bit reckless. It takes an S. That is going to be very tricky when you lack an S. And as we see, if Jason does that, Sam would have the very nice bailout of Gills, one of the legendary ISC bots. Some of those ISC bots were named vowel free words. I'm sure we remember Gills, Murs, all of the berries. But yeah, Jason spelling out Azoic, a little bit safer. I like Panic keeping the Z the best.
Yeah, me too, but I think this is a good alternative option.
Yeah, he is blocking Gills and Ukrites, which would likely have been Sam's best option. A little bit of a bailout with his consonant heavy rack.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Sam has a really cool play through me here. I wonder if he'll spot that, or if anyone in the chat sees it. It is an adverb, to give you a little bit of help here.
Yeah, there's a couple different ways to go. I think, are you talking about a 14-point play?
Yeah, gamely, which
Yeah,
surprisingly has good equity according to my uh, computer here, but I guess just
yeah.
keeping the S has that
This is one
value.
of those spots where 14 is not fun, but with 7 consonants or kind of consonants, there's not going to be a lot of choices. I might actually play Sly for 27. Does probably take away the best scoring spot, as we see Jason would love for that to stay open because he is drawn into Pronk.
Oh, wow. There's also the option through the C of just playing LYCH. Or
So is
let's see.
this the time to go for broke and play Shtetl? I don't think it actually is, but that would be very fun to watch on stream.
Yeah, that would be stylish for sure.
I don't think the thing it sets up scores enough to justify doing something like that, but it would be a lot of fun to see on stream.
Mhm.
But we see Sly. I think it's very hard to argue with a play like Sly.
Yeah, that looks nice to me.
Sam finally drawing some vowels and blocking Jason's best option of Kronk. He's in a much better shape than he was a couple of turns ago.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be a pretty close game here.
Jason is left with a Cop. That is not a bad choice. Probably would have preferred the extra points with a Kronk, but it's good to have this as a bit of a bailout.
Yeah, this score is 41, so it still really keeps the point pressure on here.
Sam is approaching the point where it is going to be a tough call between keeping up with 30-point plays and seeing if he can get back in, and maybe going a little bit more for broke with a bingo. The options here aren't great. Maybe one of the best choices would be Hyla. Bit of a tough spot. It forms the word teth from tet, and it sets up his S nicely as long as he can draw a vowel to play something like bags.
Yeah, you hate to keep BGS though, it's kind of a clunky leave. Another option that maybe leaves slightly better is to play BAGHS, bags, and OES to the left, but that has its own drawbacks too.
For sure. I think, given Sam's deficit, I think the 2-turn sequence of something like Hyla and then hope you draw a vowel and then something like bags is a great way to try to come back. Hyla will be 33 points. Bags afterwards, if he can draw it, will be 36 points. So it's a nice 69-point 2-turn sequence. Definitely a way to get back into the game. And as we see Jason with a couple of clunky consonants, he kept PORN on his rack and drew 3 more of them. He's definitely going to struggle to do anything here. Sam correctly accepting the risk that Jason has on S, making it hard for him to win, but he is doing the risk. Love this choice. I think we're going to see Sam be able to make a comeback here.
Yeah, and well spotted too with that blank. We talk a lot about blank blindness. It's not always easy to see these overlapping plays when you have to remember that the blank is an E here. So this was a really nice find from Sam.
Yeah, Jason is now in a brutally tough spot. His best scoring plays are in the neighborhood of 15. I would be thinking that Teth and Hyla is a strong chance Sam has an S, but what do you even do here? I don't think there's really any way to block it. There might literally be no legal moves.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that really addresses that spot very well.
So now I am wondering, what does Jason even do here? I'm wondering if he want to play off more or less tiles. Playing off more gives him some shots at vowels, but what do you even do here? Would you do something like pour in through the I in Azoic? That's at least a few points. That might give you a comeback if you assume Sam is going to play something like Begs. I don't hate that idea.
I don't either. The sim also likes just plunking down your N and your M for something like Nim, making the word mo. I guess just hoping that you draw into something nice with prong.
Yeah, that's
Surprisingly, yeah, even exchanging here is not simming so badly, but I don't think it'll
Yeah,
do it.
I think those are some good choices. Exchanging gives Jason a decent shot at an S, although we know Sam has both of them at this point. Jason can probably suspect one S on Sam's rack, as Hyla would be pretty courageous without it, but I don't know if Jason can assume Sam has both of them. I am wondering if maybe Jason's best play is something like Pour In, which at least sets up Mong for all the times that Sam does not go there.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea, just sort of guaranteeing yourself a good number of points on your next turn.
Yeah, one of those spots where you can iterate it out and say, hey, I'll play Pour In, he'll play Begs, I'll play Mong at the least, and then I will still be ahead. Though I wonder if Sam has both S's, is he going to play something like Bog saying, wait a minute, I can wait on this. I can take out the triple because I have both S's.
Yeah, because there aren't any S's left and there are no blanks, so it's gonna be pretty hard to take that TETH spot without that. He can kind of
Yeah,
guarantee that he's always gonna have it.
Jason going with the slightly safer option of Proin. I don't think I have too much to quibble with this one. He is giving himself some shots at a triple. He just needs to draw a vowel to get something like Graham.
Yeah, this seems like a solid option here.
Sam with, I would say, a tricky rack where he has to correctly chicken out on bingos. I have studied enough words to know Becas, Becasse, and Bagas, Bagasse. I would think about B gas or whatever that would be pronounced. It is not a word, which means Sam's best play will actually probably be Begs, forming Teths. But what about Bragg, Elise? Do you think Sam should play Bragg and wait for Tets? He does have both S's unseen. This might be a bit of a missed opportunity with that triple being a bailout for Jason, who has Frug, but an ugly rack otherwise.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think maybe some patience here would have been good. You know that that spot's always going to be there, and you're not really in a rush. So I like the idea of Bragg as well.
Yeah, I think this is a bit of a missed opportunity here. Another option is grab if you're worried about ING bingos, but we're going to see Jason with a pretty ugly rack now having a bailout of either Grum or Frug, depending on what he wants to do. Sam taking the points maybe a little bit prematurely.
Yeah, and Sam's rack looks pretty good. Do you think he has anything here?
Don't think there is one. Maybe if that M were in a different spot, we could see oatmeals. Jason is playing Bump. He's deciding to take the top. Not sure what you think about that. I think there's also a good argument for something like Frug scoring a little bit more, keeping the slightly more flexible M, but this is also a solid choice.
Yeah, I think it's kind of close. Yeah, Frog would be another good option, but I don't hate this either.
Yeah, Sam is in a very tough spot. What do you think of something like a row for 4 points, Elise? It pretty aggressive. It's actually, I think it is perfectly safe in the sense that it takes an S and a W as hooks, and Sam has the only S left, and the W's are on the board. So I might like something like a row for 4. I think if Sam doesn't play a row, he might be in one of those spots where he never quite comes back. A row is not easy to completely kill either. Jason would have to play on top of the O somehow. And as we see, he actually doesn't have any real way of doing it.
Yeah, I really like that option. I mean, it looks super dangerous, but like you said, he's holding on to the last S, which is the only back hook to that, and he needs to come back. I mean, he's 20 points behind. So I think this could be a really great option.
Yeah,
But he's going to go with a little bit of a more passive play with Avo.
Sam is going to go with Avo. I don't love this choice. I think it's going to be tough to pull anything off if Jason just plays Grav. I think all of his openings can be blocked. So I think it might be a little bit tough to come back from here after something like Grav. Aro was a really nice option, was going to be difficult to deal with.
Yeah, I agree. I think this makes Sam's job harder now.
Jason Keller probably going to play Grav. Don't know if there's any argument in favor of something else. I think it's a solid choice. Don't know what else there is. 30 points on this board is an excellent score. I think it's hard to argue in favor of anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam, with a pull of his life, he actually managed to draw Eastland. So that is probably one of the arguments in favor of Avo, going to be closer after Eastland.
Yeah, and he finds it right away. Wow.
Down.
Amazing.
And I think this will be enough to do it with Jason's relatively clunky rack.
Yeah, what a pull. That really bailed him out, but he needed to find it, and he did. Incredible.
Yeah, very nice pull by Sam. Very nice play.
And yeah, does Jason have anything to make up these 30 points here? I'm having a hard time seeing much.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to quite pull it out. And yeah, Avo, strong argument for that. I can see why it's going to be a lot harder to come back in these situations after the bingo for Jason with the extra points. So yeah, strong argument in favor of Avo, actually. I like that play in hindsight.
I guess Jason does have some options to this newly opened E. He could play something like Undate, and that scores 24, and then maybe he hopes to go out next turn.
Yeah, for sure. I think he has a lot of options that bring the game pretty close. I wonder if anything is going to be quite enough. And I think, did we get a challenge from Jason?
Oh, did we?
Did we get a challenge from Jason? I forget. Did I see them?
I don't think so. I think
we did.
accepted it.
I'm sorry. So yeah, Jason with Undate, it's going to bring it close. I don't think it's going to quite be enough. Sam will have some nice options to come back with, including Oidia underneath Undate.
Oh, wow. I'm amazed that that still fits after Undate. That would be really nice.
And Jason's only outplay is the pretty disappointing Nan for 3 points. So, yeah, Jason's post bingo draw will be a little too clunky to be able to pull anything off this time, maybe with more vowels or less N's. Maybe would have been able to see Eastland not quite do it. Overall, I would say this was a pretty high quality game. Love to see it on board one.
Yeah, not much to quibble with here. I think both players found most of their top plays. We saw some great bingos come down. This was a really nice game.
Yeah, I think Beggs is maybe the most instructive moment for the audience. I think Beggs was a little premature given that Sam had both S's. It's a tricky spot, and it shows the audience that we are all human. We can make mistakes, and something like brag or grab would have been a great choice. Harder for Jason to work with the board after that, and maybe a little bit easier to come back, but we got to see a lot of good stuff. We got to see Ukraine as a double-double. That was fun. We got to see Sam pull a bingo when it seemed pretty hopeless. That's always fun to see. Scrabble being full of surprises. Yeah, I'm not sure about that Aro versus Avo turn. One of those plays where you will quickly see the game resolve one way or another, and you will be kicking yourself if it goes wrong. Sam luckily drawing a bingo afterwards.
Yeah, it's wild how just a difference of one letter can really change the shape of a game. But as Scrabble players, yeah, we're always agonizing over these small distinctions. Do I play Avo? Do I play Arrow? And yeah, they matter. It's a lot to think about.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, Jason doing his due diligence here, looking for a win. Gonna be tough with his clunky rack. Does not exist this time, but the game is close enough that it certainly could. I think we'll see him retrack and then give up. Undate at least being there to cut the spread a little bit.
Yeah, it's always good to retrack if you're not sure of your tracking and you have 5 minutes left. You just want to make sure you can, block any high scoring outs. And with a game this close, I wouldn't be 100% certain that I'm totally out of it. So I think this is smart on Jason's part.
Yes, Sam will probably be relieved to get another W in the W column. He is struggling to kind of keep hope alive with his 9-7 record. Probably only going to be able to lose 2 more games and still make the finals. Jason dropping to 9-8. Gonna be tough, although not all hope is lost. He probably can still come back if he goes on a run after this with 11 rounds to go. It is still quite a few people's game, not quite anybody.
Yeah, anything can happen in these tournaments. You could have an 11-game winning streak or an 11-game losing streak. It really is up to the tiles and your opponents, and never count out that you have an opportunity to come back. I think you always have to have some hope.
For sure. I think with a tournament full of players as strong as these, it is anybody's game in one game, which means never discount some sort of comeback. Josh Castellano is on a 5-game winning streak. He was 5-7. He is now 10-7. It is starting to look a bit more likely that he can defend his title. It was looking tough, but he is now only 2 games out of second place, starting to look more realistic that we can see a repeat champion here at the Collins division of the Scrabble Players Championship.
Wow, that's very exciting. Yeah, I hope we get to see more from him. And Jason's going to go with Undate, which seems to be his best play.
Yeah, going to be hard to argue with the 24-point play that leaves an outplay.
I guess we'll see if Sam spots Oidia in that kind of strange spot. It looks like he has it lined up.
Yeah, I think he's just going to do some due diligence to make sure he's not missing an outplay. That said, Oidia is probably better than some of the outplays, with NN on Jason's rack only playing for 3. As long as Oidia is 24, it will be better than any outplay Sam could have that scores less than 13. So Oidia might even be better.
Yeah, and what outplays does Sam have here? I'm not sure I'm seeing.
He does not have any outplays.
Okay.
Yeah, that was mostly meant in the hypothetical. If
The hypothetical, I see.
something like diorite existed, it would have to score 13 to be better than an outplay.
Yeah, that makes
Be
sense.
better as an outplay, yeah. Yeah, we're going to see a little bit of thinking. I think Sam will eventually settle on Oidia. Kind of hard for something to be better. Doesn't actually exist here. Something like Royd is going to score 2 less. Sam can play Moiter through the M and bump. That would be equally good. It would score 2 less, but it would get rid of 1 more tile. That tile would not appear on Sam's rack.
Yeah, it's good to see him taking his time here. If you have 5 minutes and you want to guarantee that you're going to win, it's always worth it to, use as much time as you can.
Yeah, I like his decision. Every spread point could count. I think there's a very good chance we see several players at 19 and 9, with only the person with the best spread actually being able to make the finals. So every spread point could easily end up counting here.
Yeah, it's easy to forget about that, but I've played in tournaments where spread can really make the difference between winning a bunch of money and going home with nothing. So it's always something to consider.
Yes, I believe at the recent Bob Lynn Superstars, you managed to cash, but you only finished 15 spread points ahead of Kaya, who did not cash.
Yeah, so that is a concrete example of why spread is important.
For sure. Yeah, spread can make a huge difference. What are we going to see Sam do? I think he's probably close to concluding that nothing else can exist.
I think so too.
Next round, we have a couple of good choices. I think we are going to go with Josh Castellano versus Joel Wapnick. Not confirmed yet. We are going to see who has already started their games, who is available, and what other matchups seem good. We're going to see some pretty exciting matchups. Alex Seaholm playing Dennis Ikakarigor for the second time, 2 of the people near the top of the standings. Sammy Okasaga versus Austin Shin for the second time. And then Sam will be playing Ben Schonbrunn. So a lot of good choices for the stream. I believe we're going with Josh Castellano versus Joel Wapnick, but it hasn't been finalized. Sam putting down Oidia. I imagine with all that time to think, Jason realizes that his only outplay is Nan. We see that go down fairly quickly. Sam will be winning this game 461 to 439 with the fortunate pull of Eastland at the right time.
Yeah, what a nice game from both players. This was really down to the wire. Great find by Sam at the end to pull it out.
I left PORN when I put this. Okay. And I drew MNG and just never drew anything reasonable again. And that's why I did a good job. I just needed to not have that come down, or even an I was looking. Well, that's the thing actually here. Like I had Caponize actually minus, so that's how I was like, this is a good score, and I liked what it did. But I was like, if I had the Monazite or something like that over here, which I was looking for a little bit, that's why I stopped. But like, yeah, I mean, it was definitely. It was a game.
Yeah.
No, I needed the eye so I can extend to inundate. I don't know. I'm probably still not winning. Yeah.
And I drew 2 eyes at the end, right? Last draw, so that would have been real close.
It would have been close. It would have been close.
Very tight, yeah.
Well, no, I mean the thing was though, then I would have only had 1 tile. So
also, and then also maybe I have a better rack because now I only have 1 eye, so maybe I can do something.
Yeah. Well, you have one of my other ends or something.
Like on your last pull, I mean, I guess you played.
I played grab. I played a grab. I had. Well, that's the thing. Like with bump, I was deciding between bump and frug. Because I had frug for 36 and it was MV.
Oh.
That was the problem. I'm like, maybe I can draw something with VNGT.
Well, so then I could hit an ING possibly.
Right, and well, no, oh yeah, right.
I didn't have eyes, but like if I could, they were out there, and I had an N and the good letters, obviously.
Yeah,
so.
It was, man, like, especially I was like. I was also like, why don't I have with this? Why don't I have an N or a G for RNG?
Oh yeah. I played that. I played that with a blank earlier.
Yeah.
Was that this? Maybe that was at club. Anyway.
But yeah.
No, that was at club, I guess. And I had a different rack. I had Adora with a blank. But that was last week, though.
Yeah. No. I was gonna say
Rory in the blank.
Yeah, undate's a word. Okay.
I think I'll check. I had something I was pretty sure was a bingo when I played like Blatt, but I didn't play it, so it would have scored to the triple word. So I don't know. I'm saying it like it's either sound smarter or dumber now.
What
on the stream? If they're still listening, I either sound smarter for recognizing it or dumber for
what
making
did you have with the LAT?
Baculite? Is that like baculine, but baculite? No? Okay, good. I had cubital. That was my 7 letters, cubital.
Oh, cubital.
Yeah, but it didn't go anywhere, of course. And my first rack, I might have had a bingo. I had the blank already, but
you had Dow and what else?
I and blank. So I don't know. I didn't
like. I was gonna. It's who done it minus.
Yeah. Also,
it's who done it minus. Yeah,
that would have been sweet. Yeah, I should have passed. And then you would. You played Rivet or whatever. So you had 7s. I didn't even realize.
Yeah. I had. I had redrive.
Yeah, you had lots of things. Yeah, that was a tough game. That was just. I kept slate when I played Evo. I mean, I just had all the S's. That was kind of key because I needed to score enough, right?
Right.
So I was able to use up all of these, and then I kept drawing more and more.
Yeah, like the thing. Well, and the thing, especially because there, that was huge because I actually had Pronk. I had Pronk for huge.
Oh yeah, okay. So
that would have been
That would have been nice. Yeah, that was like my only play. I saw.
And I was like, but I was also like, I'm okay. I played KOP. I left Horn. Like that's not a bad. And then just
there were enough vowels that it's unlikely that you were going to draw.
What I drew.
Oh, I checked it out. Well, it didn't even go anywhere. GHYLL. I wasn't sure if that was valid.
Yeah,
I had that with 2 S's when I played Sly. So I had like nothing I had like very few plays, Yeah. So I kind of, I don't even think Gil went anywhere, honestly. But so yeah, that was timely. There were a bunch of timely things, honestly.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, my side too.
That's true. And I drew the X. So,
yeah, right. And you drew the X, and I was like, well. Because I was looking, I'm like, maybe I need to deal with the X, and I'm like, I guess I don't need to deal with the X.
I kind of bingoed. I mean, it was really like that one draw, honestly, because if I didn't bingo right then,
I'm gonna
block it.
Well, it was very hard for me to block because my rack was my rack. You saw what.
Oh yeah, how are you gonna? I don't know.
Yeah,
or something. I don't know. Well, that wouldn't even block it. That would have been hard to block. That's true.
Yeah. Although I could have done something like
something here, like dub. Then you kind of block.
Yeah, I'd have had to. Because I was thinking about playing Dud as well. I don't know if that isn't it. Like I was thinking, dud.
That would work.
That would probably work
Usually.
because I mean it usually works with, especially like. Oh, except there were a bunch of ends.
Oh, there were a lot of ends.
Yeah. Although actually, I had all of them except one. So
Yeah, geez.
maybe though I should have said, I'm going to draw the third one. I can block you with that. Like.
Yeah.
All right. One thing. I just wanna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about the whole thing with the.
No, you're reasonable.
Yeah, I'm nervous. I'm thinking I'm missing bingos.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear the words or anything.
Yeah.
And then I was
but
like, if I leaned in, maybe I could like. I'm like.
All right. Did we submit?
Okay, that was some really interesting post-game analysis there. It sounds like Sam saw a baculite, but maybe chickened out of it.
Yeah. Baculite being a tough one. Those mid-prob words, you want to think that they're ingrained in your head and learn more words. Unfortunately, this time it ended up costing Sam. Luckily, he still managed to pull this one out.